Meeting is recorded.
Oh, I see it's being recorded. You did that?
Yes, Eddie did that.
Okay. Oh, okay, perfect.
Since he is the host. We're on Facebook Live.
We're live, everybody. We're live.
And can everyone hear in the master antenna as well on the TV?
Check. Check. One. Check. 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 Yes. Just waiting for your cue.
Yep. Just waiting for Eddie. All right, we're all set to start. Francine, you have the floor.
Good evening, candidates, election committee members, shareholders, and friends. Welcome to the third and final candidates forum for this year. My name is Francine Riverbay-Jones, and I am the election chair for this year. Michelle Marbury is the co-chair.
Good evening.
The other election members are Denise Gerald, John Gale, Sandy Krasnoff, Marita Taylor, and Joyce Wilson are on the phone, so you won't see them. And Jeff Buss is our counselor.
Good evening, everyone.
There have been robocalls to the shareholders, and I welcome you. And I'm glad you could join us this evening, and thank you for the many questions that you sent. And now John Gale and I will read the election rules. Thereafter, Michelle Marbury and Jeff Buss will conduct the question and answer segment after the opening statement. And Denise Gerald is our timekeeper. Okay, the 2021 election forum rules. Pursuant to the election rules, section E, paragraph 1, all certified candidates are invited to participate in the virtual forum. Each forum will be conducted using Riverbay's WebEx platform and broadcast live over Riverbay's master antenna TV system, MATV, to all shareholders. Each forum will also be recorded and rebroadcast on Riverbay's MATV system and at later dates throughout the remainder of the election period. The recorded forums will, to the extent possible, be made available for streaming over the internet. If a candidate cannot attend the forum and the candidate provides the election committee chairperson with the reason for non-attendance, the committee chair, with the permission of the candidate, may announce the reason to the audience. Okay. To allow maximum exposure to all candidates running in this year's election, the election committee has established the following guidelines for the candidates forum.
Number one, candidates will be permitted up to 2 minutes for an opening statement and up to 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds for a closing statement. It is the candidate's option to make shorter statements. 2, candidates are requested to refrain from personally attacking each other or from making defamatory statements which could expose Riverbay to liability. Candidates are requested to show respect for their colleagues by not making gestures or facial expressions when another candidate is speaking. The committee reserves the right to mute candidates who, in the committee's opinion, are violating this rule and to delete defamatory statements and personal attacks from any rebroadcast of the forum. Candidates who are abusive, in the opinion of the committee chair, may be muted or excluded from participating in the balance of the forum. No candidate will be included or allowed to participate in the forum who appears after the final candidate opening statement is made. 4, the candidates will be allotted 1 minute to respond to each question. Questions may be referred to individual candidates or to all candidates. 5, The committee will stop taking questions at approximately 9:30 p.m., at which time the candidates will commence their closing statements. 6, candidates who are not present for the forum may not have statements read in their absence.
The election committee requests each candidate's cooperation in maintaining an atmosphere which allows each candidate equal time to present their views. If there are any questions regarding the above, please direct them in writing to the election committee, care of Francine Weaver Jones, chairperson, Riverbay 2021 election at riverbaycorp.com. Thank you, and now we will proceed with the opening statement. First up, through a drawing we had a few weeks ago, we had a random drawing, and we will call each candidate in the order in which the drawing took place. Number 1 is Monique Coleman.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Thank you. So my name is Monique Coleman. As you know, I'm running for the Co-op City Board of Directors. I've lived here in Co-op City for more than 3 decades. My demographics match those of a lot of different shareholders. I was a single mom of 2 sons. My boys were born and raised here. They're now independent and on their own. I have worked for the same company for more than 20 years. My professional experience is in insurance. When I become a member of the board, my mission is to pursue initiatives that promote better health for shareholders, to maintain affordable housing, to seek lower cost and better service alternatives to the high cost cable television contract. I strongly oppose the New York State Department of Transportation plan to build a northbound ramp off the Hutchinson River Parkway into Section 5 into the Killer Curve area. I'm excited and honored about the opportunity to do the work of my fellow shareholders. I'm part of Team Progress, and we're unified in our mission to keep Co-op City the best deal in town. I humbly ask for your vote for myself, for Sheila Richburg, for Amina Lucio, for Isabel Fletcher. Please re-elect Kevin Lambright, and please, again, vote for me, Monique Coleman.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Monique Coleman. Next up, we have Sheila Richburg.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to participate in this third forum today. My name is Sheila Richburg, and I sincerely ask you for your vote for the Riverbay Board of Directors. I am a very proud mother of 5. 3 have graduated from college and 2 are presently enrolled. I'm a nurse, a frontline worker, and a NISNA union member. I have been dedicated, involved, and active in Co-op City since I moved here in 2012. Co-op City was my first and my only choice when I knew I needed to move my precious family. I joined my building association within weeks of moving because I really wanted to get involved in this community. Presently, I'm an experienced leader, and I'm the president of the Co-op City section of the National Council of Negro Women and on the executive board of my building association. I bring valuable, transferable skills, and I have the understanding that there is a need for a board member with experience. I vow to advocate for higher quality of maintenance and with efficiency and cost effectiveness. I am committed to advocating for and establishing an urgent care center in each of our sections. Please vote for me, Sheila Richburg, and for Team Progress. If elected, we will continue to move Co-op City forward. Please vote for Kevin Lambright, Monique Coleman, Amina Lucio, and Isabel Acevedo Fletcher. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila Richburg. Next, we have Alexia Dupre will not be with us tonight. And the following person, number 4, is Leah Richardson. You're up, Leah.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, shareholders, candidates, and the election committee. My name is Leah Richardson, and I am respectfully asking for your vote for re-election to the Riverbay Board of Directors. I am a 25-year resident, and I love my community. As I walk the property during the election period, I am asked, how can we change this broken system? In my opinion, the system can only be changed with accountability, integrity, communications, and transparency. This is important to me because when shareholders feel involved and informed, they report higher levels of satisfaction with the board of directors, management agent, and the community as a whole. I was asked, why don't people vote for the board of directors? Residents are fed up with broken promises. We are promised the world at every election, only to be disappointed by broken promises. The dynamic professional women I teamed up with are stronger together. Anika Green Watson, Keisha Neely, and Leslie Peterson. And of course, myself, Leah Richardson. And also, please vote for Darrell Johnson. We are independent thinkers who have come together for a common cause. We do not break promises, we state facts, and do not give unrealistic expectations. No matter what new idea or how fresh our minds are, it takes 8 members of the board to pass the resolution. If we do not have the majority of votes, these ideas dissolve. Our philosophy is not what's in it for me, but rather what's in it for our community. We understand bureaucracy and we will not sell you a dream. However, we will promise you to uphold our fiduciary responsibilities, the duty of act, duty of care, and duty of loyalty. We will guarantee you that we will sit at the table with an open mind and address the issues and concerns you, the shareholders, have that are plaguing our community. We will advocate to improve restoration services, increase CCP visibility, uphold our youth center agreement, review the surcharge formula, and expand senior programs. We will not be able to address these issues if we do not work together. We need you, shareholders, to walk with us on our journey to improve our quality of life, improve our services. My motto is, when you fail to serve, you fail to lead.
Time. Thank you, Leah Richardson. Next, we have Keisha Neely.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Akeisha Neely. I would like to thank the shareholders for taking time this evening to watch this broadcast. I would also like to thank the election committee for putting together and facilitating this forum. I've lived in Co-op City for over 25 years, attending PS 178, IS 181, and Truman High School. I'm a city employee with 22 years of experience. I'm a proud mother of 2 beautiful daughters who actively participate in our community. One even saw the importance of the census and made a video encouraging our community to get counted. You may ask, why am I running for the board? One word, advocacy. When the MTA wanted to make drastic cuts to our bus routes, I joined the MTA ad hoc committee and pounded the pavement, giving out surveys, and worked tirelessly to create a database to capture the community's responses. After a tragic incident, I worked with a local community organization and my building association to bring several mental health first aid trainings to our community. I've been a Girl Scout leader for 6 years and a proud member of the Co-op City branch of the NAACP, the Co-op City Democratic Club, second vice president of the National Council of Negro Women, and vice chair for the Bronx Democratic Party. Why am I running with Stronger Together team? I'm running with 3 like-minded women who have tirelessly spent their free time to create, implement, and support community programming aimed at bettering the lives of cooperators. Leah and Leslie are both experienced board members who have proven their commitment to their community, and a legal background and strong analytical skills are strong characteristics needed from a future board member. So remember, you have your ballot. Vote for Akeisha Neely, Anika Green Watson, Leah Richardson, Leslie Peterson, and definitely Darrell Johnson, because we're stronger together.
Thank you, Akeisha Neely. Next, we have Isabel Fletcher.
Buenas noches. Good evening, all. Thank you again, Election Committee, for giving me the time and opportunity to showcase how I will help move Co-op City to the next level. And to my neighbors, keeping our community affordable and safe, one way you will remain proud to be part of, is just a few areas I will be focusing when I am elected to the board. I know my response expressed at the two previous candidate forums aligns with what is important to our community. And at this final forum, I know my response will continue to represent your voice, a voice that represents you, not my own personal interests. In addition to keeping our community affordable and safe, my focus will include improving infrastructure as we navigate through the 21st century. I will find the right pathways so that not one single corporator, no matter what group you represent in our community, is not left behind. We have learned through 2020 how important your voice is in determining when, where, how we are moving forward. I have been very involved as a community advocate and grassroots organizer for many years, and this skill set will serve you well. I represent you on the Co-op City Board Directors. I appreciate your time this evening as we become even more excited with the positive direction Team Progress will take Co-op City towards. Thank you. Vote Kevin Lambert, Bright, Amina Lucille, Monique Coleman, Sheila Richburg, and Isabel Fletcher. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel Fletcher. Next, we have Regina Hamilton.
Good evening. Hello, fellow cooperators. My name is Regina Hamilton. As this is the last of the forums, I hope that you have gotten a good picture of me and have decided to make me your choice for a Riverbay Board Director. My campaign has been one of 2 fish and 5 loaves. I took the independent resources I had and used them to reach the masses. To date, I have visited all 35 buildings and all 7 townhouse clusters. I have had some very interesting conversations with you and have developed several ways to tackle some of the issues. Although I would be only one voice on a board of 15, I believe I have what it takes to introduce ideas that will best represent my fellow shareholders because I am not afraid to engage, ask questions, and expect results. There are many wonderful people here in the community, and it has been my pleasure meeting you all. Please know that if elected, the interaction will not stop. I will keep boots on the ground by going around talking and advocating for you. My role on the board is to provide guidance, oversight to the property manager, operate consistent with professional management practices, encourage shareholder involvement, preserve affordable housing, all while maintaining high quality standards. My extensive background speaks to all those tasks, and I assure you that I'm ready for the challenge. I plan to represent you with the best of my ability. Initially, when I stated that a vote for me is a vote for you, that was real talk from a shareholder that cares. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina Hamilton. Okay. The next candidate we have here is Kevin Lambright.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Lambright. Now, I've lived here amongst you as a neighbor, shareholder, partner, and a friend for over 25 years. Most of you, just as my immediate family, knows my passion when it comes to this community. Now, you know how long I've strived to position myself so that I can make a significant difference. It was a long time struggle that often came upon deaf ears. But with your tenacity, courage, and your belief in me, I have been able to correct some of the issues we face. I don't claim to have done it alone, but with my ability to reach across lines and even sometimes with pushback, I partnered with like-minded individuals who also want the best for this community. By volunteering to take on a chairmanship and co-chairmanship of many committees, I did what some is not willing to do. Right away, I sought out challenged and succeeded in saving us from a long-time economic bleeding caused by a former board member costing us over $230,000 over 19 years. I also created a resolution to prevent that from ever happening again. There are many successes that time will not allow me to mention right here, but some are happening right now as we speak. Now, I want to expand all of those successes and create so many more. Successes that you can see, smell, feel the growth in your household directly. I want to institute a pilot free rent program that has proven to work in other select communities. I plan to create a resource committee that harnesses our buying power here in Co-op City, not only for the corporation, but for each and every household directly. Now, the board of directors is not a career move for me, but it is an opportunity to serve my community in ways that benefit us as a whole. So with team progress, you and I can create an environment that we can all be proud of. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kevin Lambright. Would everybody uh, please mute unless you're called on to speak. Thank you very much. And now we have Daryl Johnson. Unmute yourself, Daryl. Unmute. We can't hear you. Daryl, unmute. Maybe we'll go on to the next person and come back to. Are you unmuted?
The host has unmuted everybody. I think you can go now. Daryl, can you go?
Okay. Try unmuting again.
Okay, let's move on to the next candidate and come back to Daryl after that one.
Okay, we have Anika Green Watson.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anika Green Watson, and I'm asking you to elect me to the Riverbay Board of Directors. Thank you for joining and staying engaged throughout the process. Once again, I must thank the Stronger Together team for all the hard work everyone has put into making this a great place to live. For 2 weeks now, we've had the pleasure of getting to know the issues that are most important to the shareholders via the submitted questions. And it's insightful for one, because as board directors, we want to take on projects that make improvements that add value to those we serve. But two, because it lets the Stronger Together team know that we are tackling the right issues, i.e. the issues that matter to the shareholders and that when tackled will resonate with so many in this community. You'll recall that we've had robust discussions around CCPD visibility, restoration services, and general quality of life issues that tie back to our platform. There was a question last week about voter apathy, and I want to take a bit of time to talk to those voters who may be disaffected. We have an opportunity to chart a different path this time. And while I can understand how engaging in the process can feel like a bit more on a probably already full plate, the dividends that we can yield by truly working together cooperatively cannot be understated. I impress upon this community my favorite quote. You've heard it already. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I'm here appealing to those who are a bit removed from the process. When we go together with a purpose, we can take this community a lot farther than if we concentrate power in the hands of the few who are already engaged. You deserve a process that works for you as much as any of us do, and the Stronger Together team is here to go the distance with you. Our team was deliberate about offering a slate of candidates with a range of expertise that we thought would complement the structure of the board. Vote to elect me, Anika Green Watson, and Akeisha Neely, and vote to re-elect Leah Richardson and Leslie Peterson. All for one and one for all. We are stronger together. And vote for Daryl Johnson, an independent board director who is dedicated to making Co-op a better place to live.
Thank you, Anika Green Watson. Okay, Daryl, can we hear you now? Okay, I think the technicians, I hope the technicians are working.
I'm wondering, can the host unmute him? Irv or Eddie, can you unmute Daryl Johnson? Okay, I think there's a bigger problem with him. Let's move on and we'll go back to Daryl Johnson.
Okay, Amina Lucio, you're up now.
Thank you. Good evening, friends, neighbors, fellow candidates, and the election committee. My name is Amina Lucio, and I am running for Riverbay Board of Directors. I'm a daughter of Co-op City, growing up in Section 4, attending MS 180 and Truman High School. After college, I returned to my beloved Co-op City. I would not choose to live anywhere else. We are the best deal in town. At present, I am a full-time education administrator overseeing services for children and families with special needs here in the Bronx. I also serve as a member of the Education Committee for Yonkers City Council President Mike Cater. I serve as an executive board member for the Council of Supervisors and Administrators, CSA Union. I'm a member of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee for the New York City Department of Education, and I'm a proud member of Grace Baptist Church of Mount Vernon. I believe in education, empowerment, and advocacy. Maintaining and even increasing our quality of life is at the forefront of my agenda, from keeping Co-op City affordable to addressing our leaky convectors, to eliminating this cable service, ensuring that the cost of capital projects are done in an efficient way, beautifying our buildings and grounds, and increasing customer service. We will also benefit from more transparency in how decisions are reached by broadcasting all board meeting discussions. This would afford shareholders an inside look into the complexities and advances of our community. A vote for Team Progress. A vote for Team Progress is a vote for Amina Lucio. A vote for Team Progress is a vote for Isabel Fletcher. A vote for Team Progress is a vote for Monique Coleman. A vote for Team Progress is a vote for Sheila Richburg. And a vote for Team Progress is re-electing Kevin Lambright.
Okay, thank you, Amina Lucio.
You're
Daryl,
welcome.
I got your message. If you have any other messages, can you write them in the chat? But I think they're working on your microphone. I hope they're working on your sound. But you think it's from your end? Oh, okay. Well, okay, we'll try you again after we have Leslie Peterson up next, and then we'll try you again. Leslie Peterson, the floor is yours.
Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Good evening. I am asking you to vote for me, Leslie Peterson, and Lisa Richardson, Akeisha Neely, and Anika Green Watson, a team that will be stronger together. This is the third and final forum. I hope you have watched or get an opportunity to view the forums. During these forums, we have given you a glimpse of our journeys, where we come from, what we are concerned about, and how we have participated in our community over the years as an active member of our home, Co-op City. To reiterate, during my experience as a property manager and running a complex and managing hundreds of employees over the years as an administrator with NYCHA, it was my responsibility to know rules from the boiler room to the roof tank, from the apartment repairs to the legal procedure, along with the contract scope of work and blueprints for capital projects. That included inspecting and signing off on those contracts. I was appointed by the chairman and asked to resolve issues for NYCHA residents living in the borough of Manhattan. These are skills and knowledge helpful when seeking a permission on the board of directors. Some of the primary factors for success is listening to the needs of shareholders and answering questions that provide them with facts, possible solutions, and follow through. Based on the questions asked during the forum, Stronger Together's platform reflects the areas of concern to shareholders, and we will seek to address those needs as stated in our platform. There will be some items we can address with management and others that will be more difficult to change because we are regulated by HCR, but we are up for the challenge and ready to take on the task. Voting began on May 3rd and will continue through May 21st. But don't wait. Hopefully you have received your ballot and will vote by mail or online for Leslie Peterson, Leah Richardson, Anika Green Watson, and Akeisha Neely. All for one and one for all. We are stronger together. And please, a very independent thinker and powerful voice, vote for Daryl Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie Peterson. Okay, so Daryl, can you hear me? I cannot hear you though. I'm sorry, can you write whatever you have to say in the chat? But I have to turn the meeting over now to Michelle Marbury and Jeff Buss for the Q&A segment.
Maybe he can try signing off and signing back on.
Yeah, try that, Daryl. Leave the meeting, press the button that says leave the meeting. See the red X at the bottom? Okay,
Before we
so
continue, can we just wait to see if he can come back in so he can do that segment, and then we can go on to the next segment?
okay, I'll wait a few minutes.
But Daryl just rejoined us. I don't know. Mr. Johnson, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
All right, listen.
There he is.
Listen,
Excellent.
respectfully, I want to answer do my introduction real fast, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody
no,
understand.
You
listen,
have 2 minutes
you
like
don't have to
everyone
be
else.
fast. We
You
waited
have
for you.
2
You don't
minutes.
have to be
You have
fast.
2 minutes like everyone else, Daryl. Go ahead.
All right, okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad that we all can talk and like this and get to know the board candidates and everything, okay? Some things in this community are not right, and that's why I speak out about them, okay? For instance, if we have a $621 million mortgage, why would we want to refinance it and pull out $100 million out of that mortgage there, get a new mortgage for this, when management has been issuing carrying charge increases all the way since 2012? What are those carrying charge increases for? Capital projects, okay? This $100 million is for capital projects. I'm against that. So you're paying through the carrying charge increases, which you've already received, and which you've already received another one. Plus, we have this new $100 million that they're trying to pull out. Now, here's what's going on: a waterfront park, multi-million dollars, okay, $10 million, okay. Then on top of that, we're getting annual carrying charge increases. And if you read the paper for last Saturday, page 6, go to page 6. Okay, you'll see that management wants a $50,000 raise. $50,000 from $550,000 to $600,000. To me, it's wrong. How are you going to give out increases to the community and then management says, look, hey, I want a $50,000 increase? It's wrong. So I want to encourage everybody to vote for good leaders, okay? Leaders that are going to represent you. And I want you to vote for this Stronger Together team, okay? The Stronger Together team, ladies, if you can please raise your hand when I call your name, please. Leah Richardson, Leslie Peterson, please raise your hand. Akeisha Neely, please raise your hand. And Anika Green Watson, if you can please raise your hand. All right, we're going to work for the best interest of this community. Thank you.
I'm sorry, time's up. Thank you. Okay, I'll turn the meeting over now to Michelle Marbury, the co-chair, and Jeff Buss, our council, for the Q&A segment.
Good evening, everybody, to the committee, to our council, and to all the Riverbay shareholders. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and listening in. And we hope that we want to encourage everybody to vote. And we want to wish good luck to all the candidates. So let's start with our first question for the evening. And the topic is maintenance fees. And the question is, why do maintenance fees increase? If you are opposed, how would you pay for necessary repairs? And we'll start with candidate number 1, Monique Coleman.
Thank you. So, I think that we've all had the experience that, a loaf of bread purchased today increases in price 1 year from today, 2 years from today, 10 years from today. Also, longtime shareholders have experienced increases in carrying charges historically. we had a period of time in the 90s and early 2000s where there were no carrying charge increases between 1997 and 2002. And then immediately following, we had 5% increases every year for like 5 years. And within 2 years of that, we had increases every single year. The point is that everything goes up. So even though we are in a very difficult period where some folks are struggling, we still have to keep the wheels on the bus. We still have to pay our salaries. We still have to pay for materials. And the cost of goods tomorrow will be more expensive than the cost of goods today. So if we accept modest increases now, we can, keep things in check and not have to pay tremendous increases over time, as long as we all do our share and contribute, to the mild increases that are being requested today.
Thank you. Thank you, Monique Coleman. And next up, Sheila Richburg. Sheila Richburg, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. There is a proposed 2% increase in our carrying charges slated for 2020. And this translates into a $4.92 per room increase. And this amounts to a $15 to $30 increase per shareholder, depending on your unit size. I'm actually thankful as a shareholder that there weren't any carrying charges increase or late fees assessed in 2020 due to that unexpected pandemic. The 1.9% January 2021 increase was pushed from 2020. So for this year of 2021, there will be no carrying charge increase. It is to my understanding that HUD recommends up to a 3% carrying charge increase yearly. But if you take a look back historically, over the recent years, there hasn't been a 3% increase. There's been smaller 1.9% increases. As I look back to 2007, 2008, there were up to 6% increases annually. So the increase for 2020 does amount to $4.92. Riverbay is a business, and managing a cost-effective budget is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sheila Richburg. And we'll move on now to Leah Richardson. Leah Richardson, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, it is understood that to keep any housing development fiscally sound, at times there must be, carrying charge increase. However, we are ending our first full year of a pandemic. Being one of the largest North communities in New York City, many live on fixed incomes and may not be enrolled in any carrying charge subsidy programs like SHREET. Pensions necessarily may not get increased because they are generally fixed. Social Security benefits increases are very minimal. Do I believe that we should have any carrying charge increases? No. Many cooperatives have lost their jobs, been furloughed, or received shortened work hours. Many are trying to take care of less fortunate family members by assisting them with purchase of their foods and paying their bills. In some cases known to me, contributing to payment of shareholders' carrying charges. There are families with single parent heads of households who are struggling right now, and an increase of any percentage at this point would be detrimental to their quality of life. I would like to submit a resolution to delay the non-essential capital construction until we are refinanced, funded by other means, or when the pandemic shows enough for jobs and the economy opens. I don't care if it's $4, $2, $3, or whatever. It's still a carrying charge increase, and there's people here who cannot afford that. We can find money elsewhere. We can divert that money from the waterfront park. We can divert the money. We can also. Am I out of time? Okay. I have a whole lot more to say. Carrying charge increase. No.
Thank you, Leah. And next up, Akeisha Neely. Akeisha Neely, you have the floor.
So we understand that there are different capital projects that need to be taken care of in Co-op City. for example, we're a 50-year community, which means we have 50-year pipes, which means that we have issues with the infrastructure, and these things need to be paid for with an increase. But I really think that we should take a closer look at the budget to figure out exactly what the money is being spent on and how is it being allocated, in order to sit back and really take a look at if we really need to do a carrying charge increase, and if so, by how much. So basically, we can have a carrying charge increase, but we would have to, like I said, check those line items on the budget to see if it's an exploratory thing that we can just say, okay, we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need that, and we just stick to the bare bones of what we need to continue to create a better infrastructure for Co-op City. That's it.
Thank you so much, Keisha Neely. Next up, Isabel Fletcher. Isabel Fletcher, you have.
Well, maintenance
Isabel?
increase.
Okay.
Well, maintenance increase due to the cost of materials going up. They're going to continue to go up. And we don't want cheap materials. We wouldn't want materials that only last for a year or two. We want things that are going to last longer in our community, not for 5 years. We want them to last a little bit longer. You know, we have to take care of our grounds. So that's how I see it. You know? Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel Fletcher. Next up, Regina Hamilton. Regina Hamilton, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. As far as the budget is concerned, I think we need to take a strong look at the spending. I'm totally against maintenance increase. I feel that if you go line by line and see where you can cut costs, that would be the best way to figure out where the spending is going, so you'll be able to make an informed decision. I pride myself on being a budget queen. My husband and I, working for the city, sent all 4 of our kids to college and was able to do that, travel and do everything. But you have to know where your money's being spent. So I would really take a long, hard look at each line by line and see where we can be more cost effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. And next up, Kevin Lambright. Kevin Lambright, you have the floor.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat what some of my colleagues have already said, but we know that everything goes up. Contractors, they have raises, they have material expenses. We have material expenses that are going up. So it's real easy to say, oh, we don't need a carrying charge increase. We know what happens when we don't do that. We look forward to the future here in Co-op City, at least I do. And I also want to say that every incumbent really knows the truth about the budget. We were up, well, some of us who stayed at the meeting, the budget meeting, were up until midnight going over it. We rejected several budgets and we made management go back to the drawing board. And yes, it was tiring, but we did it. Most of us stayed for that meeting. So it's not that we want to raise and our carrying charges. It's the fact that we have to be responsible. I don't plan on leaving Co-op City. I plan on staying here to the very end. And I hope that's a long time. But the last thing I want to do is I want us to go into a crazy deeper debt than we have when we had bad management. Now things are starting to move up and we have to keep that happening. So that is why I have no problem with keeping us in a situation where we're not living on the edge. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin Lambright. Next up, Darrell Johnson. Darrell Johnson, you have the floor.
Thank you. Back in 2012, we took a mortgage for $621 million. Since then, 2012, we've been receiving annual increases to pay for capital projects. That mortgage was to pay for capital projects and to refinance the loan. Plus, we've been receiving annual carrying charge increases to pay for the capital projects. So I want anybody to justify how can we continue to get these annual carrying charge increases to pay for capital projects. You've already paid for them. Where did all that money go? See, so that's what we have a problem at. We spend about $20,000 on average to restore an apartment. How is that possible? If you have an apartment, say a 3-room apartment, would it cost you $20,000 to restore that apartment? No. Our payroll is over $90 million. Okay. Why? We have over 1,000 employees. Okay. So you see, we have to make some changes here. Okay. And that's why you need good board members to look at the budgets, people that are educated and know what they're doing. Okay. That's why I want to vote this community to vote for the stronger team. Okay. Like I've said before, Leah Richardson, Leslie Peterson, Anika Green Watson, and Akeisha Neely. Okay, so please vote for us, and we will work this budget out in the right way and do things in a proper way. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Next up, Anika Green Watson. Anika Green Watson, you have the floor.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Again, so we understand that costs can't be frozen forever and that maintenance charge increases are sometimes necessary. However, it's the fiduciary responsibility of this board to manage the finances in the best interest of the shareholders. And the board should not solely rely on the ability to unilaterally impose carrying charge increases as a way to circumvent actually managing a budget. Similar to how other corporate boards need to get creative and manage their funds effectively, we should call on our board to do the same and review spending to plug any holes. Yes, it's true. Riverbay is a corporation with spending needs, but roughly 55% of that 2% increase is meant to cover an unnecessary and ambiguously priced waterfront park. I say ambiguous because there seems to be some disagreement about the cost of the park, judging from previous forums. Whether it translates to a $1 increase or a $100 increase, we can't take for granted that we know the impact to shareholders at this time. We've just come out of a pandemic year where households have federal student loans paused, received stimulus checks from the government, and the states and the federal government increased their unemployment allowances. So as much as we would like to pretend that 2% is responsible, especially when we could have had a smaller increase or no increase at all, we really can't tell what the impact is going to be just yet because households are still being buoyed up by federal and state programs.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Next up, Amina Lucio. Amina Lucio, you have the floor.
Thank you. So it's so very important for us to be good shepherds of resources. And the 2% increase is to cover carrying, the 2% increase in carrying charges is to cover capital projects. So what are these capital projects? Let's first, again, educate, empower, and advocate. Front door lobby, fire alarm system, the garage, waterproofing our garages and garage repair, ensuring that our elevators are running, the local 11 facade to our buildings, the townhouse doors, the waterproofing of our porticos. Yes, we did not receive an increase for 2021. The 2020 increase is now coming in for 2021, and 2022 there's a 2%, a proposed 2% increase. Let me share with you the carrying charges revenue over the past 20 years have gone up 85%. 85% carrying charge revenue. However, our payroll and burden has gone up to 106%. How are we covering payroll? Water and sewer expense from the city has gone up 263%. Totally absurd. So how do we cover insurance, which has gone up over the past 20 years, 139%? We have to take a balanced approach. We cannot just not consider raising carrying charges. Being good shepherds of our resources and having a balanced approach is the way that I would go.
Thank you, Miss Lucio. And next up, okay, Leslie Peterson. Leslie Peterson, you have the floor.
Okay. You just heard a lot of numbers quoted to you, but let me just make this very clear. that when we do the budget, we usually look at a 5-year plan. And so many of those things that were mentioned are things that were already in our budget. 1.1% of the 2% is for the waterfront park. And that is not calculating the remainder of a 10 million, 12 million, or whatever you want to say. That's that 2 million. 1.1%, okay, of the 2%. Now, if that is really monitoring a fiduciary responsibility, I would have to beg to differ if anybody says that is. I am not aware that HCR requires us to have a 3% increase. I've never heard that before, because we do the budget every 2 years and we come up with what we need. We have the money to take care of our operating expenses. We have that money, okay? So anything other than is more, okay? It is not about the spin on whether it's $4 per room or $4. What it is that you have to determine, is it necessary or not? And at this time, it is not necessary to push for a waterfront park. It absolutely is not, okay? And that is relinquishing your fiduciary responsibility to say that that is something that we need now. We do not.
Thank you, Leslie. And we're going to move on now. I'm going to turn the mic over to Council Jeffrey Buss.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much, Michelle. My name is Jeffrey Buss, and I wanted to say hello to all the shareholders. I wanted to take a moment and just draw everyone's attention to how much time and effort and work the candidates, all of the candidates, are putting into getting prepared and running for the board. I think it's just amazing that you have so many dedicated shareholders there. And the last 2 forums, my phone was blowing up with complaints about the quality of the signal. And I hesitate to say this, but I haven't gotten one text so far. So hopefully that's a good sign. And it certainly warrants a long and grateful thank you to the staff at Riverbay who worked very hard to try to improve that. So I've been asked to ask a question about board training. And I'm going to actually switch the order. I'm going to go from 12 to 1. And the question first to candidate Leslie Peterson is, Riverbay board directors are asked to take part in a 3-day annual training. Do you agree with this request? And whether you agree or don't agree, please state why you agree or don't agree. And if you are an incumbent, do you participate in any training for the board? Ms. Peterson?
Yes, okay. When I first came on the board, Director Leah Graham had pushed for us to have training. I would never be one to say that people should not be trained, whether you've been on the board or you have not been on the board and this is your first time. So the first training that we had was actually held in the boardroom right here at Riverbay, okay? And in full transparency, Jeff Buss did the training and prepared books for us that gave us the basics that we need to know, bylaws, et cetera, et cetera. The following year, wanting to be a team player, I said, let me go to the board meeting. They decided they wanted to have it away in a hotel. Yes, I did go and I participated. So I got the book that I had gotten the previous year with all of the information. No harm, no foul. However, what I found was when I went downstairs and after all the conversation and the workshops, I saw people go right back to the manner in which they operated before. Okay. So at that point, I was like, okay, I thought this was supposed to be team building. Okay. I absolutely always agree. And even when I feel that I know things, I go and I get trained and I go back again because there's always something that you can learn, always, you know. But when you say team building, then that's what it should be. And when you say you're going to operate in a certain way, if that's what the workshop tells you that you should do, that's the way it should be. That is not how it was, you know. And yes, I have attended the workshop, both here at Riverbay and in the hotel.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, the question is posed to Amina Lucio. Ms. Lucio?
Yes. So you've heard me say education empowerment, advocacy. I'm an educator with the New York City Department of Ed, an education administrator, actually. I'm a lifelong learner. I was formerly a teacher, 5th grade and 6th grade teacher, before becoming a school psychologist and a supervisor of school psychologists. I've been in school pretty much half my life, more than half my life. I used to teach at the College of New Rochelle near Pear Tree. I believe in education, empowerment, and advocacy. And as a team of 15 directors, it's so important that we exchange ideas. We may not agree with everything, but the exchanging of ideas and the respectful exchange of ideas and the collaboration and the teamwork is so necessary. So do I believe in a 3-day training? I believe in a 5-day training. We're going to serve on the board for 3 years. I believe in a training for 3 years. Every day we should be learning something new. We should be learning from board of directors who are our colleagues, and we should be learning from the community and educating the community, vice versa. Again, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm an educator. I love to learn. I love to teach. I conduct workshops as a supervisor every month for my staff. Do I believe in education? I do.
Time.
Thank you, Ms. Lucio. Next, Ms. Anika Green Watson, please.
So another lifelong learner here. I 100% agree with the request because as much as we have varied backgrounds, and I believe, the people that I'm running with have really, really strong backgrounds, there should be training to orient us around the operations of the corporation. So, just in my walks around the community, I've talked a lot about theory versus practice, right? So I have an MBA in finance and management, and you've heard people kind of point to my legal background a little bit, but I know for sure that I would require specific insight into what the actual practices are here, right? And that's something you can only get through like a thoughtful training program, I should say. And I know I'm going to approach the training the same way I approach everything else in my life, right? Review it with a fresh set of eyes, but also with a finger on the pulse to determine if there are any recommendations I can make or any skill sets I can lend that would make the process run a little bit smoother. I also believe in direct mentorship, right? Similar to the mentorship I've received from the incumbents running on my team. I've been a beneficiary of some de facto training, right? And so honestly, I don't know how we could operate as a board if we don't kind of take the next class under our wings. And everyone, whether an incumbent or not, or currently sitting on the board and remaining there for the next couple of years, needs to, keep their pulse on training as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Anika Green Watson. Next, Mr. Darrell Johnson.
Yes, thank you. We used to have 1,000 cooperators go to Bartow on the last business day of the month to pay their carrying charges. Why? Apparently there were some financial issues, okay? Has that stopped? No. People are still having financial issues. If we have cooperators in this community that have financial issues, how can we as directors say that we're going to go away at your expense for 3 days to a hotel away from this community here? We're going to get hotel charges paid, food, drinks, whatever, at your expense. How is that possible? Plus, this community is getting carrying charge increases. So why would we want to justify that practice? We could have, just like this, if you want to have board training, we can have board training right now, okay? We could have had it in Bartow before the pandemic. So at Bartow or Dreiser, there was no reason for us to go away and spend all of that money on that trip, on all those trips. Now, I believe in education, okay? And I believe that board members should be educated as to what's going on here. But I do not believe in going away at your expense to pay for us to go on a trip. It's wrong, in my opinion. And I have never gone on a trip, and I will never go on a trip at your expense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The question next is for Mr. Kevin Lambright.
Yes, thank you. I have gone on board development training and it's about 25 minutes away, and I, in the very beginning, questioned, you know, the expense, and then I realized something. We are running as a board a $250 million a year corporation. And if you don't know, or if you've never dealt with money like that before, or had control over a corporation or a complex as big as this before, you have no idea the responsibility that you're about to embark on. I also know that for me, being at home or being in a room here in Co-op City, it is crazy. There's so many distractions and so many things going on. Even when we're in the boardroom, there are calls. A lot of board members are well, not a lot, but a few certain board members are looking at their phone most of the time or sleeping. But when we went away, most of us, everybody was engaged. It was a different atmosphere. Your mind was free and there were no distractions. So I think if we're going to run your $250 million corporation, going 25 minutes away and being away from all the distractions, it's worth it for us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lambright. Next, the question is for Regina Hamilton.
Yes, good evening. I believe that board training is absolutely necessary. As a retired New York City police officer, over the 20 plus years that I served, I did numerous trainings and I felt it was very effective and very important. Even preparing to run for the board, I viewed the virtual slideshow that told me about what the roles are for a board member. In addition to that, I also researched other Mitchell-Lama developments to see how they conduct their business. So I believe that training is ongoing. We should definitely not do anything to the cooperators' expense. I believe if you want to serve on the board, that's part of what you're signing up for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Next, Ms. Isabel Fletcher.
Hi.
Good evening.
Taking part in 3-day training. I agreed to a training. I feel every day is a day to learn, listen, and grow with our community. I feel a team-like progress learns to work together. Kevin Lambert, Amina Lucio, Monique Coleman, and Sheila Richburg. We have been working and learning these days and these weeks coming together as we go to the forum. So I would greatly appreciate a training. That would be awesome. I think we all need that when you're going into something new that you've never stepped into before. As a community, we ask our residents to join, and if we get elected, we need that. We need that extra training. It helps.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Next, Akeisha Neely.
I believe that training is paramount in any position that you take. I've worked for the city for 22 years. I've worked for ACS. I've worked for the New York City Police Department. And I've also driven a subway I was a train operator. So in each step, I had to train. But I really feel that if you're going to train, it should be hands-on. And it's not going away and spending the cooperative's money. Because if you're here and you're on the ground and you're learning, it's very important because now you're infused in this community and you need to understand the basic inner workings of the community. You need to understand what a board member is supposed to do and their fiduciary responsibilities. And I think that it's very important to have training at all levels, and then that the training should continue quarterly or however often to just keep refreshing your training. But I really do believe that training is very important at all stages, even just as someone who hasn't been on the board. But just, I just need to learn from the wealth of knowledge that everyone else has, because I'm not clueless, but I just need to understand what my role and responsibility is. So I think training is paramount, and the 3-day training is fine, but I also don't believe that it should be at the stake of the shareholder.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Neely. Next, Leah Richardson.
Yes, hi. First of all, I want to say that, throwing shots at people, is very unprofessional, as a board director. That's my pet peeve. I do not like people talking about other people indirectly or subliminally. Okay, secondly, I believe that training is essential. We need to have training, yes, we do. But I think that when we have these board trainings, we need to have someone that's from the outside. We need to have people from the outside doing the training, because I've gone to every one of the trainings, and to me, yeah, I don't see where some board members, took any heed to it. So that's a whole nother issue. Secondly, I have a bachelor's degree in communications. I have a master's degree in public administration. I work for the Supreme Court. I'm an IT manager, and I also train. I train employees, technical skills, technical stuff. I'm also the president of a large organization within the courts. I just recently held a huge career development program to enhance employees' skills. Training is essential. I definitely approve training for the board, but I do not, and I'm going to keep saying this, the shots have to go. It has to. I'm just fed up with it. It has to go. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Next, Sheila Richburg, please.
Yes, thank you. I also believe, like my colleagues here on the forum, that board training is absolutely necessary and essential. I have a master's degree in education, so I am a trainer. As nurses, we receive continuing education throughout our career, and we receive the same trainings year after year, because repetition is, of course, important. And one thing also, as a trainer, we are trained before we go out and we train the nurses. I believe not only education, but communication training is important, and board development is important. Like my colleague Kevin Lambright said, Co-op City is a huge development with a multi-million-dollar budget. Some of us have not had the opportunity to experience that type of budget. So education, training, team building are absolutely necessary. And I am definitely a supporter of training and development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richburg. And next, Monique Coleman, please.
So I absolutely support training. I feel that it's necessary to establish a common ground and sometimes a common language. We're all, we have different experience levels, different education levels, and we're working on an important, huge job. And many of us have not had the experience of managing $250 million corporation in the past. It's important that we level set and we get a common language for tackling our problems together. So for sure, I support training. And everybody learns differently. Some people, may learn better in a off-site, and others may learn better in a closed-in conference room. But the bottom line is that we should find a common ground so that we can all get the training, so that we can work together on our common projects, and put our shareholders' interests before our individual preferences.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Coleman. And at this point, I'm going to turn the questioning back to Ms. Marbury. Michelle?
Thank you, Jeff. And the next question and topic is quality of life issues. And the question is, if you as a shareholder had to prioritize and identify just one issue that impacts negatively on the quality of life here in Co-op City, what would that issue be? How would you, if elected, try to address this issue? And we'll start with Leslie Peterson.
Okay, there are a few things that I could select, but I think Number one for me, and what I hear the most from most of the shareholders, is the repair process. I have been living here for 35 years. I recall when you did have to have work done by way of skilled trades, maybe you got a 2-week appointment. Now, all of the emails that I get and the calls I get from shareholders are they're coming to do something this day. 2 months later, they're coming. And then after that, 3 months later, to finish doing a job. It's not right to have shareholders have to sit back and step over their furniture and live in disarray for that long a period of time. I'm a true believer in a squeaky wheel. And even when I managed, I would tell people when they came in, if there was a problem, I don't mind you being a squeaky wheel, because if it were where I lived, I would be the squeaky wheel. So I can't be mad at you for being the squeaky wheel. I got stopped yesterday because a shareholder made a call for their intercom, and they were given an appointment for July. There are also people that have home attendants, seniors that have home attendants that have to come and see them. So we have to really correct our service response to our shareholders. And yeah, I have many ideas as to how that could be done. One was actually mentioned by the management company previously. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. And the next up, Miss Amina Lucio, same question.
Prioritizing quality of life. Definitely the customer service with regard to maintenance. Loitering is a big pet peeve of mine, and loud music playing in front of the buildings. There was some drag racing the couple of weeks ago over on Co-op City Boulevard. I think that negatively definitely impacts the quality of life. So maintenance, loitering, and also another pet peeve of mine, as well as some cooperators, is when the garbage bins are being brought to the pads and they take the walking path in which we walk, garbage is falling out of the garbage bins onto the walking path. So definitely buildings and grounds would be an area that I would like to see cleaned up so that it increases our quality of life. So those three are, and I know you asked for one, Michelle, but maintenance, loitering, and the upkeep of our building and grounds.
Okay, thank you, Miss Amina Lucio. Next up, Anika Green Watson. Anika Green Watson, you have the floor.
Hello. So I'm going to step out and move away from the crowd because we've talked about our platform for 3 weeks and we've covered maintenance, we've covered quality of life, which includes noise and pets, etc. But I would venture to say that we have a bigger quality of life issue, and the true quality of life issue that doesn't get considered in the vein of all of the other maintenance / noise issues is really finding a way to truly engage the majority of our population on an ongoing basis. That's a quality of life issue, and I'm going to tell you why. So we've talked about the waterfront survey results and how the responses to that have led to a carrying charge that the entire community must shoulder now, right? So a minority of people made a decision and now the entire community has to shoulder that, right? That impacts everyone's quality of life. We've talked about what happens when we don't have a quorum for board elections, right? It becomes this, longer drawn out process. We lose so much through the lack of engagement, and we really need to find a thoughtful way to engage more of our population. I don't know that the way that we're doing it now is actually working, and I would really like to see more of the community engaged in these ongoing issues that really impact all of us.
Thank you, Anika Green Watson. Darrell Johnson, you're up next. Darrell Johnson, you have the floor.
Okay, two big complaints that people contact me about all the time. It's about noise and maintenance repairs, okay? Appointments being canceled all the time. I had to stay off from work. On this date, we had an appointment. My information was never in the system. That needs to stop. That needs to be changed, okay? In reference to the noise complaints, okay, we need to, if somebody is deliberately going around taking a hammer and banging on the floor during the middle of the night, they need to get a community complaint. It needs to, security, public safety officers need to go review that information, go and give that person a community complaint. If it continues, fine, we take further action. This nonsense with the noise complaints, I feel like we need to make some drastic improvements because it's just overwhelming, the number of complaints that we're getting. Okay, we can sit down with families, we can sit down with people, cooperators, and we can educate them. We have to keep the noise down here. Okay, as far as the maintenance repairs are concerned, we have to hold people accountable. Sure, things come up, but we have to remember we have 1,000 employees here. Let's use those employees for our benefit. Okay, people, if you have an appointment, it should be confirmed. People from management should be calling the cooperators and confirming that, hey, you have an appointment. This way, you know your appointment is going to be fulfilled. This way, if you take off from work, you're going to get what's going on in your apartment fixed. Thank you. My time is up.
I'm sorry.
Unmute
I'm
yourself.
sorry. Forgive me. I was muted. Thank you, Daryl. And next up, Kevin Lambright. Kevin Lambright, you have the floor.
Thank you. I've always been a quality of life candidate for many years. Most people know some of the things that I've fought for. Fortunately enough, since I've gotten on the board, I've gotten a chance to see how a lot of the operations actually work. I've asked for tours, personal tours, just so I can go and see, and so I can have access to how things work. And you know, when you do that, you get to see some of the really problems that we have. And unless you're really an expert in every aspect of that department, you're really not going to know how to fix it right away. So one of the things that I've done is bring some things to the board that the board has agreed on, and you're going to start to see some really major changes because systems are being put in place. One the Another thing that as far as quality of life is concerned is a lot of people we always want to blame someone else for why this is not working or that's not working. But just a good example is one of my neighbors told me that he said, I spilled something on the floor here and it's been 3 days. And see, these people don't do their job. No one has come to clean it up. And, you know, we as shareholders have to be responsible also. I think my time is just about up, but yeah, we have to be responsible. So yes, there are things that are on its way that are being worked on.
Time. Thank you. Okay, and thank you, Kevin Lambright. Next up, Regina Hamilton. Regina Hamilton, you have the floor.
Thank you. As I found from my numerous interactions with the residents here in Co-op City, I believe that quality of life issues are very shareholder specific. I believe we need to open up the dialogue with the staff as well as the residents, find innovative ways to do that. It's a very big lack of communication that I found. And what may be important to me may not be important to some of my other neighbors. So I think that we have to push for personal accountability and personal responsibility. And I believe with the ideas that I have, I believe that we can definitely get that done to address all of the quality of life issues that we have here in Co-op City. Thank you.
And thank you, Regina Hamilton. Next up, Isabel Fletcher. Isabel Fletcher, you have the floor.
Thank you. You say quality of life. I think there's so many things that we could all bring up. I mean, there's many things. Repairs of convectors that are still carrying mold, not being replaced, but the gentleman that comes to fix it sees it, but they disregard it. There are many little things that are unhealthy for us that I've seen it personally happen to myself as a resident here. So there's a lot of little things, but I know that everyone can see that, because when you're living in your home, as we all having meetings in our home, we know there are things that are needed, that are unhealthy, and that need to be fixed. And yes, if they see it, they should address it. I don't feel like, sometimes it could be someone older, younger, maybe they don't know that there's something wrong. If there's mold, that manager or that inspector, whomever is in your home, they should jot that down. That should be very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Next up, Akeisha Neely. Akeisha Neely, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, two quality of life issues that are kind of sort of my pet peeves. One is the loitering and the hanging out in front of the buildings and playing the loud music in front of the buildings out of the cars. I would like to thank CCPD. I've seen you guys out a lot lately, and I thank you and appreciate you for that. And I also think the scheduling for the maintenance. My background with the city has been with scheduling, and I think that would be something that I would actually look into, see how our scheduling is done, to see if there are ways there that we can fix those issues, because it is unacceptable to, I am a person that I had an intercom issue in February. They rang my bell yesterday to fix my intercom. I totally forgot. So now from February to now, I'm just getting my intercom fixed. And similar to what Leslie said, what if I was elderly? What about the elderly person that can't come downstairs and answer the door? What about the person that's inconvenienced on having their kitchen repaired or their bathroom repaired? So I really think another, like I said, my quality of life issue also would be with the scheduling of maintenance calls and how the maintenance projects are done. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Akeisha Neely. Next up, Leah Richardson. Leah Richardson, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I think as a board, we are collectively, we're a collective board. So whatever accomplishments that are made, we all share that the same accomplishment. So not just one person. Customer service is one of my pet peeves. Customer service is an integral function of any organization, and it's essential, to a healthy community. The need for excellent services is just as vital to an association's success as it is to a business that sells goods and services. For example, restoration and maintenance. Although we have worked hard to make significant changes, we still have work to do. Shareholders have every reason to expect the highest quality of service from their community, especially because their most asset is their home. Residents expect management to help them. If re-elected, my number one pet peeve is customer service. Board members and managers should think of their services, programs, and projects and rules as the products they offer, and their residents as their customers. Customer service lies within the exchange between community leaders and shareholders. So again, my pet peeve is customer service. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. And next up, Ms. Sheila Richburg. Sheila Richburg, you have the
Yes.
floor.
Thank you once again. I'm definitely going to speak about maintenance and service calls because I feel it's a critical quality of life issue that we haven't been able to resolve effectively yet. And it directly affects most shareholders at some point, because all of us will have a need for maintenance at some point. And there is definitely a continued concern in the community as we went around speaking to people about not only the quality of maintenance, but the no-show number. It is in my opinion that the shortfalls can be improved. I definitely would say I would advocate for expanding the current system to make it more efficient. I definitely think we need to digitize the system. Maintenance workers should not be walking around with a piece of paper. There should be a digital system in place. And that way we would be able to have more accountability when there is a no-show or if there's an issue with a maintenance person. Data could then be analyzed, and then we can put systems in place where we can have sustainable improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila Richburg. And next up, Monique Coleman. Monique Coleman, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I feel like we are in the process of developing our next 5-year plan for our capital projects and our operating projects. I mean, everything that my fellow candidates have said are issues that impact every one of us and are serious issues. And I feel strongly about all of them as well. I won't repeat what my colleagues have said just because I think we all know maintenance is a problem and loitering is a problem and lack of engagement is a problem. But I'll just pull in my own personal experience here as a mom. What was missing when I was raising my children was a safe place to go for my children. I don't understand why Co-op City doesn't have a youth center. We have enough families to support it, to keep it running. At the same time, we're a naturally occurring retirement community, and we should have a dedicated senior center, and we could probably have a center that does offers services for both. I know that at some point in our history, we were promised funds by the New York City City Council when Andy King was around, and I want to see if we can resurrect, that project and get the city to commit to giving us back those funds to have a center for our youth and our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Monique Coleman. And now we will turn the mic back over to Council Jeff Buss.
Hi, thank you very much, Michelle. I'm asking a question regarding building associations. Are you a member of your building or townhouse association? If not, why not? And if you do not have a building association, would you be willing to start one? And I'm going to start the questioning with Miss Monique Coleman. Ms. Coleman?
I am. I'm a member of my building association, but I will admit that I don't get to all of the meetings. I contribute to the annual, the annual membership fees, but I work full time and I get to the meetings when I can. But going forward, it's my objective to be part of every meeting, in the very near future. And when I become a board member, of course, I'll be participating in all of the meetings.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Next, Sheila Richburg. Are you involved with or have an opinion about building or townhouse associations?
Hi, thank you so much. And yes, I am not only a member of my building association, but I have been on the executive board of my building association within 2 weeks of me relocating here to Co-op City. I think it is extremely important. And I'm also a member of our Building Association Scholarship Committee, where we give scholarships annually, 5 of them, to deserving high school graduates. And we do that. We've been doing that now for the past 5 years. And I just think community involvement and just being involved in my building is a must. It's a no-brainer. In my building, I decorate the lobbies, I decorate my floor. I do basically anything I can do to improve the quality of life in that direct area that I live. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richburg. Next is Leah Richardson. Ms. Richardson, are you involved with a building or townhouse association?
Yes, I'm a former building president for Building 9. That's where I was the president at. And I was very much involved with bringing that association back to life. I'm also a community leader, and I'm a board director. and I also, put decorations and all that stuff up on my floor as well. So yes, I am a member, and I'm also a member.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, the question is for Akeisha Neely.
Yes, I am a part of my building association. I am not on the executive board, but under the leadership of the late Maxine Sullivan, I was able to help bring the building a mental health first aid training. I'm very active with the youth in the building. We have youth activities, pizza parties, game nights, and I also help with decorating my floor. My neighbors, we all come out. We have a great time. We decorate the lobby as well. So yes, I am very active in Building 10, and Building 10 will tell you that I'm very active in Building 10. So yeah, I'm very involved in my building association. Shout out to Building 10.
Thank you, Ms. Neely. And next, Ms. Isabel Fletcher. Ms. Fletcher?
Sorry, I pressed the wrong thing.
That's okay.
Okay, there it is. Sorry.
We hear you now.
Hi, I'm not active, but when there's need in the community and they look forward to seeing me and my children, they definitely call on us, and my children are helpful, and we've decorated and we've joined and we've donated to the community, to the board. But we definitely would like to have been more involved, especially me, but due to late night work, it was a conflict. And also joining and being very active in my kids' in the community information that would go out for my children, whether it was the school and their meetings, I would be in there. So due to those conflicts, I missed, but I'm trying now, different avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Next, Ms. Regina Hamilton.
Yes, I've been a participating member with our building association. One of the former board members was our building president. As of late, we haven't been able to have any activities due to, I believe, the COVID. But as in my research, I've identified 12 active board associations in the community and 2 townhouse active board associations. That's something that I would definitely like to reinstitute for all 35 buildings and all 7 townhouse clusters. I've been active on my floor. I've won a couple of decorating contests in my building that they had. And I really believe in community engagement. So I think that would be a strong point for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Next, the question is directed to.
I need the cooker.
Next, the question is directed to Mr. Kevin Lambright.
Yes, thank you. I'm not only an active member, I'm the president of Building 21. And one of the really fantastic things that we do, and I'm proud of, is that we reach out to other building associations, whether they're close to us or far from us. We reach out to them and we try to help and we support one another in one another's building associations. Also there was a time when Building 22 for a couple of years did not have a building association, and the gentleman who wanted to start it reached out to me, and I helped them get their building association. And unfortunately for him, he had to resign shortly after because he was threatened by the former management, that they wanted to guide him and tell him what to do and how to guide the people in his building association. And he didn't think that that was proper because he was also an employee of Riverbay. He was an employee, but he was also a shareholder. And a shareholder, whether you're an employee or not, you can be president of your building association. But they were kind of trying to get him to do some things that he didn't want to do. He thought was not right or fair. So he relinquished it. Also, Building 21, what we did was we got together with building associations in the area, and we started the Section 4 partnership, and it's been working out so very good, very well. And we're willing to help any other building associations. And I think my time is up.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lambright. Next, Mr. Darrell Johnson, Are you involved in a building or townhouse association? If not, why not?
Yes, sir. Before I make a comment on the building association, I just want to speak out against something that's going on, okay? I want to encourage us to have a productive meeting, all right, without derogatory comments. Some derogatory comments were made, all right? Some were completely untrue about some board members, okay? So the derogatory comments need to stop, okay? This is a professional meeting. We want to keep it professional, okay? Now, let me answer your question. Yes, I'm active in my building association. Sometimes I can't make the meetings because I have my schedule is very, very busy. Do I pay my fees? Absolutely. Do I contribute my dues every year? Absolutely. Okay. But we need to change the date. Okay. Of our building meetings. Okay. Sometimes I just can't make it. Sometimes my schedule is just too rough. Anyway, but my entire building knows. Everybody in this community knows you can reach me. Okay, my number's in the paper. Okay, you can send a text to me. You can send. I handle a lot of complaints in this community from a lot of people. Okay, so everybody knows we had complaints in the past about wash machines. A lot of people complain to me about those wash machines, elevators. So I mean, you know, whatever's going on in our building. Okay, you know that I will be there to help this our building and this entire community. All right, so that's it for me in reference to the building association. I want the building association to always know that I'm always here for you, and the entire community to know that I'm always here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next, Ms. Anika Green Watson.
So I'm not just a member of my townhouse association, but I'm also the founder and the president. When my husband and I moved here a couple of years back, we filled out paperwork that would allow the building association to have our telephone number to contact us. So after settling in, which took about a month, and those of you who have families to look after will understand exactly why, I actually spoke with Leslie about creating one myself. I called an initial meeting with the shareholders to gauge interest, and it was actually something they wanted. So I created the association, and we're fully functioning. Within the first 6 months of the association, we held our signature event called Deck the Halls, which is a day when our townhouse cluster came together to decorate the front of our homes in the common area. There may have been donuts and hot chocolate involved, and everyone just had a great time. You'd be surprised how many people walked by just to see the lights and take pictures. Through my association, I also participate in the Section 2 all building meetings, which include all of the Section 2 buildings and the Cooper Association. And I also serve on the planning committee for Summer Fun Day, which is the Section 2 initiative. We have some interesting events coming up, and we managed to remain active during the pandemic, taking our Summer Fun Day online. So thank you, Leslie, for your guidance and your leadership. And thank you to all the residents of Cooper Place for trusting me.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Green Watson. Next, Amina Lucio, please.
Yes. So my building association, I pay my dues and yes, I am a member. I go wherever I'm needed. As I stated, education, empowerment, and advocacy are one of the three most important things for our community. I, of course, compete in priorities. I work with families and children of special needs. So I tend to spend a lot of my time, waking hours, assisting parents and students with special needs. I would like to see the return of the advisory council. Speaking of participation, and this advisory council would consist of building association presidents or delegates to represent each building and townhouse cluster to ensure increased representation, participation, provide us with recommendations, solutions for many of the concerns here in Co-op City.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Lucio. And next, Ms. Leslie Peterson, please.
Hi. Yes, currently I am the Building 13 Association president. I was the secretary, and then when the treasurer stepped down, they asked me to be the secretary and the treasurer. And then when the vice president needed help, I was the secretary, treasurer, and an aide to the vice president. I'm a daddy's girl. My father lived here at the time. My father said, Leslie, run for president. And many of the people asked me to. So I did. I have a business administration degree in business administration with a specialization in management and also a master's in urban affairs. And so as a result, I decided that what I would do for my building is make us a 501c3. We are the only 501c3 association in Co-op City. And I wanted my other fellow associations to be able to do the same. And so with the help of the current Building 9 president, Ms. Collins, she and I both advocated and was able to get a workshop from the then council person and with Sobro, and they came up and they presented a workshop for 501c3 for other associations here. My Building 13 also, we are the founders and the steering committee for the Rivers Run Community Garden, which we are very proud of. Well, we reinstituted what we used to have years ago, which were parades. And so now we decided we would connect it with the Little League and have an Earth Day parade. There are many things that that we have done for our buildings, and that is how I've gotten to know many of the people throughout the community, because we always have events and many of the cooperators participate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. And so now I would like to turn this show back over to my co-host, Michelle Marbury. Michelle?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Okay, and looking at the time, I think we're going to move on now to closing statements. Okay, so with that,
Do you have any other more questions? No?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I think you have time for another one.
Okay, you want another question? We'll have another question, Madam Chair. Okay, so the next topic is new and progressive initiatives. There's actually two parts to this question, so I'll read them both. First part, Co-op City is a self-sustaining community with its own power plant that produces revenue. New and progressive initiatives are being implemented, such as electric charging stations and solar energy panels. Do you support these new initiatives? And if not, why not? The next part of the question is, what is one new initiative you would like to bring to our community that would benefit the shareholders? Okay, we'll start from the bottom up with Leslie Peterson.
Okay, what I would like to see finally come to fruition is something that I started when I had the sales committee. When I had the sales committee, I was interested in revamping the orientation process. And so we videotaped the people that actually were there presenting so that we can get all the information that they normally provide to new shareholders during orientation. I then had the then liaison, Ms. White, transcribe it, sent it to all of the departments so that they could add, whatever they needed to add. And then we had procurement in the process of getting a movie, someone professional to do the movie process so that people would be able to have that on the website, be able to take it home with them, and for something that the shareholders who have been living here for years would have that they could utilize and refer back to, because over the years we have had changes. And so when the following year I did not have the sales committee, I did go to the sales committee and I did mention, and some of the people that were on my committee were also on that committee, and we did let them know what we had initiated. And so I would really like to see that finally come to fruition. I think that we will save money also, because part of the problem was that what I saw as a problem was that we had many people working overtime to do the orientations, and I really felt like that would have helped us to save some money and also better educate new shareholders and those who are already living here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Peterson. Let's switch it up a little bit and let's go to Ms. Sheila Richburg. Sheila Richburg, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I was just thinking about yesterday I went to look for a car for my daughter and there was an electric car there. And I said that's something that I would consider in the future, because the car was able to go for 284 miles on a single charge. And I noticed in our garages that there are outlets to charge a car, but I don't think it's something I would get at this time, but I definitely support in the future that type of initiative. Another initiative that's being brought to Co-op City actually is the waterfront park. And I just wanted to talk about that for a couple of minutes because there are benefits to having a waterfront park. It will be beneficial to those of us that don't have a view. I don't have a personal view of the Hutchinson River, so I would love to have the opportunity to sit outside in a serene and outdoor space and enjoy the river view. It will allow Co-op City residents the benefit of living so close to the Hutchinson River. And like I said on another forum, the CDC recommends with this pandemic that we get outdoors. And the latest recommendation is that you don't have to wear a mask when you're outdoors, as long as you're 6 feet apart and breathing in that fresh air. I know it was a lot of talk about the cost, but I know there's an opportunity now that we may receive a grant to fund this space. So that's something that I definitely feel would have ultimate health benefits. And being that I'm a nurse, I support anything that will give us a health benefit due to the disparities in our Black and Brown communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sheila Richburg. And let's move now to Isabel Fletcher. Isabel Fletcher, you have the floor.
Sorry. I also agree with my team members here and saying that a waterfront park would be beautiful. It will help the community. It will beautify the community. It will enrich us in that way. And I feel that with that happening, or even if it doesn't happen, let's just say, we need a dog park so that then the community could feel that love of getting to know each other, having their dogs together so that they're not chasing the roller skaters, the bikers, the joggers. I think that'll be really helpful for our community. It would expand everything where everyone can get to use the grounds without having to worry about the dogs. Some people are just scared of dogs, but I know everyone needs their dogs, and that's something else separate, but I'm just saying that it will bring the community together and people will get to know who's who has their dogs. It would be a great thing, uniting all of us together. Dog park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. And next up, Mr. Darrell Johnson. Darrell Johnson, you have the floor.
Sure. Okay. A waterfront park again is going to cost at least somewhere in the ballpark of around $10 million. How can we justify this by pulling out a $100 million loan and then issuing additional carrying charge increases? I don't think so. I'm against that. All right. Now, what we can do is this: have a new initiative in reference to apartment move-outs. They charge you 3 months of carrying charges when you move out. Some of these apartments stay vacant for a year. How is that possible? Where else do you know that happens at? Okay, if you rent an apartment outside, no landlord is going to keep an apartment open for a whole year. We charge about $20,000. We have to pay about $20,000 to repair an apartment on average. $20,000. How is this? I brought this out before. We have to stop this. So this process, that's a new initiative that needs to be addressed, that we need to bring into this community here. This way we can stop this. Stop all the waste here, okay? In reference to all this money that we're spending for these apartments and things like that, $20,000 is a lot of money. All right, and then, like I said, we don't need a waterfront park that we paying for with continuing carrying charge increases. So we need to stop this, okay? This can't be justified. I'm sorry. You don't take out a $100 million loan and put up a water park, especially if you don't have the money to pay for it. You don't do things like that.
Thank you, Darrell. Moving on to Ms. Leah Richardson. Leah Richardson, you have the floor.
Thank you. I guess the new initiative that I would think about is the solar panel, but I would have to do a little bit more research before I gave my final thoughts on that. But I would lean more towards the solar panels because I know it'll save us energy. And that's basically all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Leah Richardson. Ms. Anika Green Watson. you have the floor.
Thank you. So for current initiatives that I support, Co-op City has been trying to go greener from a maintenance perspective. I support the enterprise to use materials that are environmentally friendly and, chemicals that are environmentally friendly to clean the complex. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago and earlier today, I am not in favor of the water park, and particularly not at this time. I won't beat a dead horse, so I'll just go on to note that there's an alternative that I just really wish we would have considered. Listed in our future capital projects, in addition to creating the park, was rehabilitating the bingo space for community use. Well, the community use I would like to advocate for, and that I think would have provided a huge benefit almost immediately, would be to have it purposed as a youth center, as had been discussed in the past. And this is also part of the Stronger Together platform, right? It seems to have wide appeal, as evidenced by the other references to it today. I mentioned last week that I met some of the Stronger Together team when I joined a committee of the board. Well, that committee was the Community Relations Committee. And my purpose in joining that committee was really twofold. One, obviously, to be actively engaged directly where I live, but two, to be part of the process that creates thoughtful programming for our youth. So that's the initiative I'd like to see coming forward.
Thank you, Ms. Anika Green Watson. And next up, let's go to Ms. Amina Lucio. Amina Lucio, you have the floor.
Thank you. I mentioned in an article a few weeks back that when I was a youth here in Co-op City, we would have a bus that would pick up the students that attended Truman High School and take us to Connecticut, where we worked in McDonald's. Thank goodness we don't have to travel so far. Just last weekend, I was having dinner in a diner in Mount Vernon, and I was talking to the waiter, and he mentioned to me that he resided in Co-op City. I was surprised because he now was working outside of not only the 5 boroughs, but in a whole nother county, right? So the summer youth program, bringing that initiative here to Co-op City, where we recruit our own vendors, we recruit the stores here in Bay Plaza, in the 3 community centers to employ our youths. That would be one initiative that I would like to work with. Another initiative would be the Girl Trek program. The Girl Trek is a national program that brings women of color, and the aim is to get 1 million women of color engaging in exercise in the outdoors. And I would love to have that initiative here in Co-op City, and we can enjoy, of course, the outdoor space, over 300 acres. And the last initiative that I would like here in Co-op City, I'm a member of the Bike Co-op City. I've been a member for years. We were instrumental in getting bike lanes in Co-op City. I would like to resurrect that group as well. So Summer Youth, Girl Trek, and Bike Co-op City. Those would be my 3 initiatives, in addition to working for the people and the will of Co-op City shareholders.
Thank you, Ms. Amina Lucio.
Thank you.
Okay, and next up, Ms. Regina Hamilton. Regina Hamilton, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very interested in new and progressive, innovative ideas that would benefit the shareholders. However, I think that we really need to focus on what we presently have and to tweak that and make it better before we move forward. We need to perfect what we already are involved in. I mean, as far as solar panels, some of my properties, I have visited that, and I think that might be something that would benefit Co-op City. Also, some of my family members do have electric cars, so that is something to have more stations. There are a few here in the Co-op City area already, but I just really feel like we need to focus on what we already have here in Co-op City and make that better and stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Next up, Mr. Kevin Lambright. Kevin Lambright, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Initiatives. Before I got on the board, about 10 years ago, almost about 10 years ago, I found an organization called Renaissance, and I invited a couple of board members because I wasn't on the board, and I invited them to come down and check them out in the South Bronx. So they came down, they were excited about it. They brought it to the then board with the management that we used to have, Marion Scott Realty. We used to have them as management, and they got voted down. Um, then when Cleve Taylor successfully removed Marion Scott, a board member suggested, came up with the idea of bringing in Renaissance, and they voted it in, and so it came in. So now we have Renaissance, the music for our children. That's excellent. It works out really well. Also, back then, I also suggested that the orientation be changed because I was just on the committee as a shareholder, not a board member. When I became co-chair, I actually pushed it forward and actually upgraded it. And you will see that in about a month or so, a month or two from now. There are several things that I want to bring to Co-op City that's going to affect you as a shareholder directly. And that's the free rent program that in other select communities that have proven to work so well and to save people so much money that they can keep in their pockets. My time's up.
Thank you, Kevin Lambright. And next up, Miss Akeisha Neely. Akeisha Neely, you have the floor.
So as we all know, the Bronx has an issue with the asthma rates. Co-op City does not fall in that category, but I feel that if we have the solar panels and the cars, we'll create more green energy in Co-op City. So I am in favor of that. But an initiative that I would like to see happen is, yes, we have the issue for the bingo hall and turning it into a youth center. But I would like to also see an intergenerational mentoring program, because we have people that are retiring earlier, so they may not know what to do or any new skills, and then we have the youth that may benefit from their transferable skills, and we have seniors that are in JASA and other programs that could help the other people that are now retiring early transition into the retirement life. So I would like to see an intergenerational program happen in Co-op City. That way it would touch the human aspect of Co-op City and would foster a better environment for not only the youth of Co-op City, but also every age group in Co-op City. Because as a Girl Scout leader, I see how much it means to the youth when we reach back and we talk to them. And I see in the different organizations that I'm in that it makes a difference from generation to generation, because we can all encourage and mentor at any age level. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Akeisha Neely. And next up, Miss Monique Coleman. Forgive me. Monique Coleman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Michelle. So many good ideas. So I absolutely support new initiatives. I love the idea of solar panels and electric vehicles, because I feel like that is the future. And, we're already doing a great job with our power plant. And, I feel like solar panels is probably just an extension of that idea to, harvest power and manifest even more. But I think that if I were to, for me, I would want to dig my arms or my hands into our cable problem. We have a monopoly in our community. Some have called it a marketing agreement. Eh, All I know is I feel like they have a stranglehold on Co-op City, and the size of our community means that we have a lot of, power, and we should not be in a situation where we are beholden to a single provider. We should have choices. We should have lower cost options. We should be researching infrastructure changes. We should try to own our own infrastructure. We should have more than one option, and it shouldn't be as expensive as it is. So I think that I would want to pursue, a project that reviewed our cable options. And I do support the waterfront park. um, we've been in a pandemic, and I also want to pursue any interest that furthers our health and wellness. I love Amina's idea of having a.
Time up.
Okay, thank you. I can't see the timing. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique Coleman. Thank you all for your answers, eloquently stated by all, and good luck to all. And now I will turn the mic back over to our chairperson, Ms. Francine Weaver Jones.
Thank you so much. Beautiful comments, very good statements. You all did well. And now we're closing out the entire forum. So all 3 forums now have been held, and we're up for closing remarks now. So let's go in reverse order again. Leslie Peterson, we'll begin with you. She's not there. Okay, we'll continue.
Leslie Peterson, the floor is yours. Are you with us, Leslie Peterson?
She might have stepped away. I'll go to Amina Lucio first.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, friends, neighbors, for tuning in this evening. Thank you, Election Committee, for affording us this opportunity to share our vision and mission with the community. For those who have tuned in late, my name is Amina Lucio, and I am a daughter of Co-op City, growing up in Section 4 and now residing in Section 1. I attended MS 180 and Truman High School. And let me first state before I go on that this has been a wonderful experience, sharing our ideas on this forum and speaking to the community, and also just learning the processes involved with being a director. Again, my mantra is education, empowerment, and advocacy. My career and most of my downtime is spent assisting family and children with special needs. I'd like us to finalize the securement of the youth center and a local summer youth program. I'd like to see the return of an advisory council with representatives from each building and townhouse. I like to work on decreasing the turnaround time of vacant apartments and sellable apartments. I'd like to part of this locked in exclusive marketing agreement with Optimum. So I would be researching the interim what other companies would like to Co-op City. And although we have a low crime rate, I like to explore the most efficient use of
Time up.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see the timer.
That's okay.
Okay, next we have, is Leslie back yet? Okay, Anika Green Watson.
Thank you, fellow shareholders, for attending and engaging with this election process. And thank you to those who submitted thoughtful questions. Thank you to the Election Committee for running this forum and others. As I mentioned in the first and second forums, and will continue to reiterate, the principles of cooperative living revolve around democratic control. I encourage you all to stay engaged with the process as you continue to make your choices for board candidates, but also beyond this election cycle. As I outlined in my opening statement, and as evident from the responses tonight, the Stronger Together team and Daryl Johnson bring a wealth of knowledge, insight, and experience to the table. And if you elect us, we will activate all of those resources to make sure Co-op City continues to be a great place to call home. We will channel community-focused thinking to achieve benefits for the collective. I hope we all take advantage of this process this year and vote for who we think can get the job done. If you haven't voted yet, I encourage you to vote to elect me, Anika Green Watson, and Akeisha Neely and vote to re-elect Leah Richardson and Leslie Peterson, all for one and one for all. We are stronger together. And last but certainly not least, vote for Daryl Johnson, a truly independent board candidate who is dedicated to making Co-op City a better place to live. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening all and happy voting.
Thank you, Anika Green Watson. Now, Daryl Johnson, you have the floor.
It was wonderful to be with everyone. Thank you so much for everyone for listening to this broadcast here. Some of the things like I brought up before during this meeting here that we need to work on are noise complaints, the amount of money that we spend for apartment repairs, $20,000 on average to repair an apartment. This waterfront park, this is just complete nonsense in my opinion here. If you don't have the money to pay for a $10 million waterfront park, why would you go take out a loan and do this whole thing? It doesn't make any sense. What are you going to get? You can't charge any money to go into that waterfront park. If you were going to build a Disney World, or if you were going to build something that's going to make you a lot of money, then I would say, okay, fine, look, take out a loan and let's do a waterfront park, okay? But that's not going to happen here. The cooperators are going to get carrying charge increases just to pay for that waterfront park. We can't support that. That's just complete nonsense in my opinion. So the annual carrying charge increases need to stop. This $100 million pullout refinancing and pulling out $100 million to pay for capital projects that we already paid for since 2012. We've been receiving annual increases for capital projects. It's wrong, okay? So that needs to stop. This management fee, $50,000 that our managing agent wants. He wants to bring the salary up to $600,000. All right, it's wrong. So I want to encourage this community to please vote for the Stronger Together team. Leah Richardson, Leslie Peterson, Akeisha Neely, Anika Green Watson. I will do my best to help these ladies and this community to become #1 in New York City. I want to thank everyone for attending this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl Johnson. Is Leslie Peterson back yet?
You hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So should I go now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, because I sent you a message in the chat that my screen all of a sudden froze.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The Stronger Together team is pleased to be endorsed by respected members and active participants in the community. Reverend Deborah Jenkins, former director and president of the Riverbay Fund. Helen Atkins, former president of the Riverbay Board of Directors. Rod Saunders, second vice president of the Riverbay Board of Directors. Leah Graham, former director of the Riverbay Board, and Shirley Saunders, president of the Democratic Club. Stronger Together heard the issues involving repair appointments being scheduled months later. On our platform, Improved Restoration Services. Co-op City has always been a low crime area. That does not negate that shareholders have requested more visibility of our offices. Community policing, once a staple in this community, gave an additional sense of security. The shareholders are requesting it. Our platform increased CCPD visibility. After 50 years without, we believe it's time we provide a youth center for our youth. So yes, we should advocate to uphold the youth center agreement made to us by the city. We want to review the surcharge formula, advocate for unit upgrades, and expand senior programs. But vote by mail or online for Leslie Peterson, Leah Richardson, Anika Green Watson, and Akeisha Neely. All for one and one for all. We are stronger together. And please vote also for Daryl Johnson. If you want to learn more about us, visit AALL4board.com. Good night, everybody, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Leslie Peterson. Now we have Regina Hamilton. Oh, wait a minute. Now we have Kevin Lambright.
Okay, thank you. Now we've heard a lot this evening. Sometimes we get caught up in personalities and mixed messages. Now I know that can be very confusing, but I implore you to read between the lines. We are a smart community, and we can learn to be a prosperous community. Some of the fixes here are an easy fix, but some only sound easy. You want to elect people who know the difference between easy and what sounds easy. None of you have to be a lawyer, accountant, or a doctor to see the problems we face. My grandmother used to call them educated fools. But you don't have to be a genius to know that when you have a simple problem like a leak or a flooring issue, that you want a speedy resolution to fix that problem. You know, it doesn't take charm school for someone to be polite on the other end of a phone, especially when you're having a crisis. Most of us work too hard to come home and have to be subjected to problems outside of our control. Home should be our sanctuary, a place of solemn refuge, a problem-free environment where we leave all the pressures of outside world, just that, outside. So I'm asking you to make the right decision, the right choice, and vote Team Progress. That's me, Kevin Lambright, Amina Lucio, Isabel Fletcher, Monique Coleman, and Sheila Richburg. And once again, I'm Kevin Lambright. God bless.
Thank you, Kevin Lambright. Next up, we have Regina Hamilton.
Okay, thank you, Sai. I just want to thank everyone that assisted me during this campaign. I thank my husband, children, and extended family and friends for their patience, support, and encouragement. I want to thank all the cooperators and Riverbay staff I have met over the last month or so that challenged me with thought-provoking questions and intriguing dialogue. I am humbled by the many well wishes I have received from the neighbors I knew and from the complete strangers I have met along the way. If elected, this will be just the beginning of new enthusiasm and excitement. My goal is to keep Co-op City a place where you are proud to reside and call home. I have some great ideas and hope to work with you and for you to implement them. Thank you for all those that will vote for me, and no matter the victor, look forward to my continued relevance in and around the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina Hamilton. Could everyone mute themselves unless you're called on to speak? Thank you. Okay, next we have Isabel Fletcher.
Hi. I know you heard quite a bit of information this evening, and now you are at a place where it is time to cast your ballots. As you did during the most recent election nationwide, I want to leave you with a thought that what we know from our recent experiences is that lived experiences is critical in making positive changes. It is not just about positions people have held, but experiences where people are on the ground hearing the concerns and the voices of the community and then addressing these concerns in real time, not getting caught up in policies and protocols and process. Team Progress is the vehicle to get your concerns to the forefront and effectively addressing your thoughts. I'm done, sorry. So please embrace your power and authority by voting in high numbers for a team that will represent you. Isabel Fletcher, my slate, Team Progress. Please vote for Kevin Lambright, Amina Lucille, Monique Coleman, Sheila Richburg. May you be prosperous and remain safe as we journey forward with a refreshed board of directors. Que todos tienen una noche buena. Good night.
Thank you, Isabel Fletcher. Next up, we have Akeisha Neely.
Thank you to the election committee. Thank you to the cooperators who are viewing this broadcast. I come to you as the product of, I call, a bench politician, right? My dad and his crew of guys would sit in front of the building and come up with what they thought was the best idea for Co-op City. And that was me, fourth grade Akeisha. Now I've gone through being the adult Akeisha, and I am on the ground with my community. You've seen me out there at the MTA protest. You've seen me out there possibly being your Girl Scout leader. You've seen me out there in the various organizations that I'm in. I'm just asking you, my community that has raised me, that has instilled that has instilled values in me, not only from my parents but from my community as well. I'm not about throwing out names and all this other stuff. I think that we should rise above all of this. And I ask you to look and again read between the lines and read every article and remember to vote for Akeisha Neely, Anika Green Watson, Leslie Peterson, Leah Richardson, and of course Daryl Richardson. Daryl Johnson. I apologize. Once again, everyone have a great night. God bless. And remember, vote.
Thank you, Akeisha Neely. Okay, now we're going to Leah Richardson for her closing statement.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to keep my remarks professional and educational. Thank you, shareholders, for your patience and your hard work of the election committee. I also like to thank the management and staff for their leadership and dedication, combined with their staff's teamwork and energy during these difficult times. Although we have had a few bumps in the road, we were still able to keep this community strong. When electing board directors, shareholders delegate them with their major responsibilities. Stronger together are independent thinkers who have come together for a common cause. We recognize the different needs of our shareholders and will work extremely hard to ensure those needs are met. Together, we will minimize bureaucracy, ensure communications, and sharing information about how decisions are made. These assets go a long way toward building community harmony. There is no substitution for communications between the corporation and the residents. Shareholders expect from their financial contribution to make sure that the community is safe, clean, and that the bills are paid with the expectation that the board members and management will provide these services with transparency and efficiency without overspending or unnecessarily wasting the corporation's funds. I believe that the platform Stronger Together signifies the strength our community needs. I am proud to support and hopefully work with a group of dynamic professional women. Anika Green Watson, Leader's Mind, will offer the board's critical thinking and a greater understanding of the complex issues that affect our community. Leslie Peterson's wealth of knowledge as a property manager for over 30 years, I am confident she is more than qualified to assume the position of board director. Akeisha Neely will take no nonsense, and she has a keen, inspiring, and analytical mind. Time's up?
Yes, time out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Vote for us, Stronger
Thank
Together.
you, Leah Richardson. Next we have Sheila Richburg.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having this third very informative forum. Thank you to the election committee, to IT, to the shareholders for sharing your time, to my special team, Team Progress. I humbly ask for your vote, and I do not take this request lightly. I'm very passionate about having the responsibility to see quality of life improvements actually come to fruition here in Co-op City. If elected, I will work with grit and with determination to improve quality of life, promote digitization, accountability, and necessary improvements. My lifelong history of advocacy as a nurse and my community involvement speaks volumes about who I am. Please cast your very important vote for Team Progress. Please elect Sheila Richburg, myself, Monique Coleman, Isabel Fletcher, Amina Lucio, and re-elect Kevin Lambright. We will continue the advances and stay on course. We will keep Co-op City affordable, optimize quality of life customer service, digitize our operations, protect confidential personal information, and we will continue to oppose the Hutchinson River Parkway exit into Section 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila Richburg. And last but not least, we have Monique Coleman.
Thank you, Reva. Thank you, Reva. Thank you to the election committee. Thank you to my fellow candidates. Thank you to the shareholders for giving us an opportunity to be heard tonight. It's been an interesting process. I've learned a great deal, and I'm really excited and honored to participate in this process and humbly ask for your vote. Please vote for me, Monique Coleman, and my slate, Team Progress, including Sheila Richberg, Amina Lucio, Isabel Fletcher, and please re-elect Kevin Lambright. We're unified in our mission to maintain affordable housing and to have a better quality of life. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Monique Coleman. And I'd like to say good night to all the shareholders that tuned in. And I want to give my my co-chair a chance to say a few words, as well as Jeff Buss.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't know you were going to do this, so
I know
not
you
really
always
gonna
have so much to say. That's okay. I'll let Jeff say a few words. Okay.
No, I'm not saying I don't want to speak. I'm just saying I was surprised. But there's always time to reach out to this magnificent community and impress upon you the importance of the power that we all yield together. And what I mean by that is this is yours and this is your time. This is like Christmas time in Co-op City. It's election time. This is when we get to use our power as shareholders and choose who will run our business. We're in business together. We're not just neighbors, but we are business owners, shareholders, and we need to own that. And you can own that by voting for who you think is the right person to run your corporation and your business. So take this seriously. Get out there and get those ballots in the mail or vote online. You know, as soon as we get off the air here, vote online. Do it. It's important. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless all of you, all the candidates. Good luck to all of you. And I hope to see you, whoever you are, whoever the winners are. I'll see you in the boardroom, and let's make
Right.
and
Fantastic.
God bless the our election committee. And this is not easy. It's hard work. But when you care about the people you live with, you do the hard work. You know, if everybody just does a little bit, we're gonna get big things done. Okay, that's enough. I'll turn it over to Jeff Buss.
You're muted.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute, council.
Unmute. There we go. Thank you so much. And thank you, Michelle. I was a little nervous there, Francine, you were going to ask me to cut off Michelle. I didn't think that was going to be a good idea for me. But I really want to thank everyone involved in this process. First of all, it's such an honor to be an attorney working at Co-op City. It is an absolutely amazing community. And when you look at all the things that you have here at Co-op City, it's just a tremendous place for everyone. And it's all due to you and your hard work and your efforts and your pride as homeowners. Those of you that are watching this, that are shareholders, if you haven't voted, you can vote right now. You can take out your cell phone or your computer and you can go online and vote. You could also vote by dropping your ballot in the mail. I've seen a couple candidates that have held up their ballots to show you what it is. Just drop it in, postage paid, and it gets there. I'd like to do a shout out to the election committee members who have worked really long and hard for this. You should be proud of all of them. They're your fellow shareholders. It's a great thing that you can do to volunteer to support it. And to the candidates, wow, that's all I can say. Wow, I am so impressed with the preparation and the thought and the dedication that each and every one of you put into it. Thank you all. Have a great night. Stay well.
Congratulations.
I think we can all exhale a little bit until we get the results. Okay, so don't forget to vote, everyone. All the shareholders watching.
Thank
you.
And have a good night.
Thank you and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Progress.
Good night, Team Progress.
Yes,
Team Progress.
Good night, stronger together.
Good night.
Lucio. Good night, Isabel Fletcher. Good night, Kevin Lambright.
Sharon Cheryl
Good night,
Johnson,
Sheila
and Keisha
Richburg.
Keisha Neely, and Nika Green Watson, Leslie Peterson, stronger
Lucio.
together.
stronger together.
Good night, Team
Yes.
Progress.
Good night,
Stronger
guys.
together, stronger
Good
together.
night.
You can let it go.
Good night.
Good job. Good night.
Good job, everyone.
Good job.
Good.